Morning. All righty. Okay, so this morning we are going to be going over attacking. All right. And specifically this morning with attacking, we're going to talk a lot about spacing and timing. Okay, so one of the biggest issues that we see, it's pretty much every single time we coach, is that people don't have the right spacing from the net or from their setter, and they are continuously early to the ball. Okay, so we're going to give you guys some tips and ideas to help you put yourselves in a better position to feel more comfortable with your attack, which should hopefully allow you to score more points. All right, when we're talking about spacing, the first thing, whenever you guys get to your courts, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to set up your position where you are an arm's length away from the net, so that if you go through and you do a full arm swing, you will not hit the net. All right, once you do that, you're going to turn into the court. This is how we find our spacing, and now we're going to teach you a 4-step approach. Okay, so I'm right-handed, so if you're right-handed, listen to me on my steps. Do I have any lefties? All right, if you're a lefty, you got to leave. No, I'm just kidding. You're going to be the opposite of me. Okay, so for me, I'm going to do a right step, a left step, and then both of my feet. All right, so right, left, right, left. If you're a lefty, it's going to be left, right, left, right. All right, and this is where, at minimum, I should be starting my approach from the net. Okay, I think a lot of us, so this is where I should be starting. A lot of us, when we pass, we start to get a little anxious and we think, I have to get to that spot because I don't want to let the ball hit the ground. Okay, but we need to give ourselves kind of a runway so that we can develop some momentum, which will allow us to get up in the air. Okay.
Is the same distance for girls, or maybe a bit closer?
Everybody's distance is going to be different because it's related to your steps, not mine. Okay, so everybody's going to find their own distance. Okay, so my distance, Allie, come here. Allie and I are very different sized people, right? We're going to find our distance from the net. We're going to turn around. We're going to do our approach. Okay, so Allie's starting position would be there. Mine would be here. Okay, so it's very different. You guys are all going to do this with your coaches to find that distance from the net. The big issue that we see a lot of times is after we pass, instead of keeping this distance from the net and finding our timing step off of the net, allowing us to move forward into this set, we tend to run to the net because we feel like we're closer to the ball and we're going to have a better chance of hitting it, right? But we need to allow ourselves some spacing. All right, so once we're off the net, once again, we're looking at our right step, which is going to be your timing step. Okay, and I'm going to put my timing step down as the setter is touching the ball. Okay, if you've never done this before, especially once you get to a point where you have a setter that's setting the ball, something I encourage you to do is say now when the setter is touching the ball. And if that can time up with your step, then more than likely your timing is pretty good. All right. We also want this first step to be very slow and calm, okay? Because we're just putting our foot down. This is getting us into the timing of the step of our approach. We're going to see that set go up. Then our second step is going to go down, which is going to be controlled and slow as well, but it's a little bit faster than that first step. And that's going to give us what I like to call our direction step. Okay, so I see that set, and then that second step is going to allow me going into that direction of where the set is going to be. And then finally, we have our last 2 steps, which are going to be our explosive steps that afterwards we're going to jump up in the air as high as we can and hopefully terminate the ball. Okay, so once again, I'm going to be here, I'm passing the ball, I'm going to create space for my setter if I'm right-handed, right? Because that's going to allow my setter to find my attacking shoulder a little bit easier. Mark, would you mind coming out here real quick? Okay, so we found the distance from the net. Now we need to think about where do I need to be in relation to my setter, okay? So after I pass, my favorite hit, and most of your favorite hits, should be cross court, okay? There's a very wide range of shots that you can hit, and as long as you make a really good contact, there's a good chance that this ball is going to go in and you're going to have good pace on it. So after I pass, my job is to put myself in a position where if I run straight through this ball, I'm going to be running cross court. Okay? So that's why I'm creating this space. So if Mark puts this ball right in front of me and I make my steps, then I should be able to make my hit. And if my momentum keeps going, I should be going cross court. All right? The reason I say that is because a lot of the times what happens is I will pass the ball, I won't create this space, right? And then my momentum will be going outside the court, okay? Or towards this corner, all right? Which eliminates a lot of the shots and options that I have as an attacker, okay? If I can find this cross court, then that's going to allow me to hit hard cross. It's going to allow me to do a cut shot. It's also going to allow me to turn down the line if I want. So it's giving me all my options that I need. Does that make sense? Okay. It's a little different if I'm on the right side, okay? Because if I shuffle away from my attacker, if I shuffle away from my setter, then there's a really good chance that he might find this ball on my non-hitting shoulder, okay? Which means that I'm going to look like this when I'm attacking, okay? That's a really, really dangerous position to be in because now the defense has a really good idea what I'm doing and I'm not going to be able to put a lot of power on this ball. So if I'm a right-handed player and I'm playing on the right side of the court, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get my hitting shoulder closer to my setter. So I'm going to shuffle towards him. And I want you to imagine that there's wood panels on the court, kind of like a basketball court, and I would be on the panels directly next to Mark, okay? The reason for that is because now when he makes this set, there's a really good chance that it'll end up on my right shoulder, which will allow me to swing, shoot, and do whatever I want when I'm straight up and down and I'm not leaning. Does that make sense? So lefties, you would do the opposite. If I'm on the right side and I'm a lefty, I would shuffle away because I need to find this cross court. Ooh, good contact. And if I was on the left side of the court, then I would do the same thing where I'm finding that panel and I'm gonna try to hit that shot. Does that make sense? Okay, so what we're gonna do first is we're gonna have our attacker here. We're gonna go ahead and make you guys fake pass so that we can shuffle away from our setter, find the timing, and then you're gonna notice that Mark's timing step is gonna happen the same time that I'm smacking, okay? And I want you guys to say now when you think I'm gonna smack, and I want you to keep your eyes on Mark's feet and see if his footstep is happening the same time that I'm smacking, and you're saying now. Does that make sense? Okay, so he's gonna fake the pass, smack, and then I would do my toss. All right, fake the pass, smack. I don't hear any nows. Try to time up my smack and say now and watch his feet to see if I'm doing it. Good. One more, Mark. He got really warm this morning. I don't know if you guys know. Good. Okay, so as an attacker, if that timing step happens at the right time, it's going to allow Mark to continue his momentum into that attack, get up and make a really high swing and a really good contact. If he's too early, he's going to be waiting here. So this is what it'll look like if Mark's too early. So the fake pass. So do you guys notice how he got to that position and had to wait? Okay, it's the same thing as an airplane getting to the end of the runway and then stopping and then trying to take off. It doesn't look very natural. Okay, we want to wait back and get that gradual momentum so that we can take off at the right time. Does that make sense? Okay, so once we're good there, then we're going to add in a setter. Jan, you want to come over here and set? Sure. All right, and this is just going to make it a little bit more realistic, and we're also going to be able to see when JM is touching the ball and see if Mark's timing step matches JM's touch, okay? Can you see?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So pass. Now. All right. And so this time I want you guys to watch how calm his first 2 steps are. At no point does he not look like it doesn't look like he's worried if he's going to get there or not. So timing step now, very slow. Scaring me. All right, one more. Watch how slow and patient his steps are. Right, left, right, left. All right. As you can see, sorry, I wasn't in the way on that one. All right. As you can see, he's building up that speed. He's trusting his setter to give a really good set. And this is also where we can start communicating with the setter, say, hey, I need a little bit more height, or hey, I need it a little bit lower, whatever you want to do. All right. Okay. So this morning, we're just going to continually work on this timing. We're going to work on the spacing, trying to figure out how we find that cross court. We're going to go with coaches tossing for you at first, and then we're going to continue making it live. When you first go back to your courts, coaches are going to take you through a very quick little warm-up to get your passing and setting going, and then we're going to spend a lot of time going through attacking. We're going to start with a nice easy toss, then we're going to add in a toss past that hit, and then we're going to go a little live and try to find this. Yes, sir.
So I noticed you had your line drawn, and that was where you ended. And then for what you were starting your first step at the line. Do you want to start where your line is and take your first step there, or are you starting where the line is with your right front step?
I think a lot of it's just going to be you finding your kind of special area to where you're going to start. For me personally, I've noticed that I don't really think about my depth too much. I really do just try to keep my spacing from the net here as much as I can. I think as long as you are around that line, you can do a good job of shortening your steps or extending your steps. But I wouldn't try to be perfect in landing on that or starting from that. I think as long as we can get close to that, we just want to make sure that we're not shortening ourselves too much. Some of you, if we happen to over-exaggerate, we're too far, that's a really easy conversation for a coach to have. And you're going to find those steps. Yes.
If you're like shorter or you're a woman on a men's net, do you back it off from where you want it set and then do your approach, or do you still do it from the net?
I would say your spacing's probably going to be very similar,
Okay.
but if you're a female hitting on a men's net, you probably want to be attacking from a little bit further off. So that spacing would be a little bit further off to start as well.
Okay.
Yes, really good question. Any other questions?
Yeah, I got one. Can you
Yeah.
get one live one from this side of the court?
Yeah.
Very good.
All right, so if you guys notice on this one, he's going to be shuffling in. All right, so he's doing his pass. He's finding that next panel, and then he can move into the ball. Nice shot. Thanks, man. Keep going. Show you one more. Good. Notice that, like, because I passed accidentally right in front of me,
I didn't need that movement. I was already set up. So after that pass, I just stayed because I've already got my panel right next to it. If I were to go over here, just throw me one over here. If I were to pass over here, and then I send JM over there, now I have a bigger move, right? But some kind of common mistake is your body gets addicted to that movement pattern so much that you end up like passing right in front of you, and JM would be there, and then I would do this, and JM starts going like, I don't know if you're going in front of me or back. Right? So don't over exaggerate it, just make sure that, like Brandon said, you're right on the panels right next to that stuff.
Anything to add? Good.
Great.
Good. All right. So once again, we don't want to overcomplicate it. So let's just go. Well, we're going to start with that. So we're just going with spacing and timing. You're going to go through a quick little warm up of passing and setting, and then today is going to be a lot of hitting, a lot of gameplay, and a lot of fun.
I had one thing to add for the right side. So when I pass from the sideline, I kind of like help myself in transition. I might pass the ball a little closer to right here, so I don't have to spend like 4 extra steps to transition every single time I want to side out. So that's something you might have to talk to your partner about because this is a little bit farther away from normal target. So a little pro tip there, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, and this kind of I know I yelled at, actually it's funny that he's got the camera, but I yelled at Eric yesterday because this is something you should be doing all the time, is you should always be making your job and your setter's job as easy as possible. So a lot of things, yesterday what happened is Eric got put a short ball right here, and he went to go pass this ball, and JM is coming to me to make this set, right? But a lot of times we feel our partner's presence on that side of the court, and instead of just passing it straight up to make it easier for them, we pass this ball to them, and now JM's running away from me, right? That's a very difficult set. So even though I realize that I should probably be passing to the middle, that setter wants to come to me. So if JM's playing defense with me and I make this move up here, I should just try to lift this ball, allowing JM to come in and touch that ball for me. That way he's just making a straight up and down set. It's easy for me to get on top of it. It's easier for him to find my right shoulder, okay? If you're having trouble with the spacing, really the biggest thing is do your best to make your setter's job easy to find your attacking shoulder. And if you're a lefty, make sure you tell your coaches and the people that you're on the court with that you're left-handed, because a lot of times we set like we would want to get set. And if you're left-handed, then we need to make sure we're pushing a little bit more. Okay?
And we need some court switch.
Yeah.
So the guys who are on that ocean court, you guys are going to be on this court. The guys yesterday who finished on this court, you guys are going to be on the ocean court.
Yep.
Everybody else is the same.
All right, so let's go ahead and get your waters, go ahead and head to your courts, and as always, let's get better.
Can I get your thoughts about the clinic, sir?
Right now I'm thinking we're going to go out here, we're going to make some big moves, make some big bangers, and we're going to see how this day goes.
All right. Thanks for your thoughts.